Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name's Gillian Rouge and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. Today I'm going to be making a card with this Beach Day bundle. We're actually heading off to the coast. I live in Sacramento and it's been Sacramento, California, and it's been very hot here the last couple of weeks. Temperatures way over 100 degrees. And so my husband and I just decided to head off to the coast for a few days. So that's kind of what inspired me to make a card using this Beach Day bundle that's actually carried over from the last mini catalogue. Along with that, I'm going to be using these dies, the Perennial Postage dies. Now, these were part of a bundle in the last mini catalogue, but the sentiment set that goes with it has actually retired. And I've hardly used these. I may have used one or two for sentiments on cards, but I haven't really made a card that focuses on that bundle. So that's what I'm going to do also. So let me show you the card and then we will get started. So this is the card that I'm going to make today. So as you can see, it's very beach inspired. And I don't know if you can see, but what I've done is these are designed to look like postage stamps. And I wanted to find a way to mask off the edges of the dies so that I could have that white piece around the edge that looks like a postage stamp. And I think I've come up with kind of a clever way to do it. Using scotch tape, which I know everybody has. So let me show you how to do it. And I would love if you would subscribe and like my channel if you'd like to see more videos from me. So let's get started with these dies. So the ones that I'm going to use, and I'll list everything below and the dimensions of the ones that I've used so you'll know. But I'm going to use these two square ones, and this large rectangle one here, this next one. I'm going to skip this one, but I'm going to use the smallest one. So I'll just put the dies to one side. And then what I'm going to do, I need to die cut each of these. I'm going to grab a couple of pieces of basic white cardstock, just your regular basic white. And I'm going to die cut these. So I'm just going to lay them out and see how they fit. I want to leave some space around them because I'm going to do some sponging. So I'm going to kind of see how this would work. Let me see, maybe this one over here. I want to make sure that I've got enough room to sponge around them without getting on the one next door. So I think that looks good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my die cut plates. My cut machine plates are right here. And we'll put this first one on. And I'm just going to go die cut these two sheets, and then I will be right back. Okay, so I've got these all die cut, and I can put my dies to one side. And I'm going to use the negative parts as a mask, so to do some sponging. But again, I want to get that white border around the edge when I sponge. So I thought, how can I do that easily? So I came up with this idea, and it does take a little bit of time to prep. But then what I found is that you can use it over and over and just keep them maybe in with the back of the dies or somewhere safe, and you can just reuse them. So I did find it easiest to grab a silicone mat, because the Scotch tape being clear, it was a little bit hard to see against the glass mat. So I'm just going to take a strip of Scotch tape, and this is just your regular household Scotch tape. There is a removable version, but I didn't find that was actually, I was going to order that, but I found actually that this one worked just fine. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay it down on here so that I've just got, I'm going to pull it about this way so I don't have my head showing over the top over too much. I'm just going to lay it down so that I've got a bit of a border, and I'll hold it up and show you. And it doesn't have to be perfect. So I don't know if you can see. But I've just got, see if I can get a good angle where you can see it. Can you see the edge of the Scotch tape there? So that's what you're just going for. And then I'm going to do that on all four sides. And I do find it easiest for some reason to turn it around and do it this way rather than from the bottom. So, and again, just another piece. I'm going to do exactly the same. And like I say, it doesn't have to be perfect, because when it's all put together, if you look at mine, some I've got, you know, some like wider spots and some narrower, but it doesn't really notice. People aren't going to be focusing on that when they look at the card. And then we'll do the narrow sides. And the beauty of this is that while the Scotch tape is sticky, because there's only these little narrow strips, you can reuse this over and over again. It doesn't really stick to the, because it's just such a narrow little area, it doesn't really stick permanently to the actual die cut. So that's one done, and I'll just show you before I move on to do the others that then you can just take your die cut piece, and I flipped this over so this part's sticky, and then we're just gonna pop these in. It's like kind of like a puzzle, and then when I turn it over, I'm going to be able to sponge here and leave that border. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around and do all the others, and I will speed it up, or I'll pause the video and I'll come back when they're all done, because you don't need to sit through and watch it. So I will go ahead and continue, and I'll be back when they're all done. Okay, I'm just finishing up the last one here. And if you've got some tape hanging over the edge like that, I'm just going to fold that over so it's not sticky. Right, so everything's done. So I'm going to put those to one side for a moment and bring in my stamp set, and I'll kind of show you my thought process here. What I did was I looked, any stamp set that has some little small images that you can just put in the different areas, and then obviously you need a sentiment, or you don't have to, you could just do all images and then a sentiment on the inside. So I kind of picked the ones that I wanted to do, and then I colored them and die cut them, stamped, colored and die cut them, and then I laid them out to see where I wanted everything to go. So let's do that next. So I'm going to bring in some more basic white. So let me go ahead and stamp these all with Memento. And let's see, did I miss anything? So I'm going to stamp the grass and the shells and the sentiment directly onto the die, so I don't need to worry about those for right now. Okay, so I think that's good. So I'm using, let's see, let's do the surfboards. I used Lemon Lolly and Azure Afternoon, and I did a touch of Daffodil Delight. Can't remember if I used light or dark. Let's let them go. So I used those for the surfboard, so let's do those. So I did, and I just did some quick kind of coloring. So this is Azure Afternoon Dark, so I just kind of did the bottom area dark and the top, and then just came in with the light, blended that out, and I want it kind of pale towards the middle, so I just blend it up, and then I just kind of did a quick flick. So I kind of got that lighter in the middle, like that. And then I did the same with the, the lemon, so I'm doing Lemon Lolly. So again, I'm just going to flick from the top and the bottom. And bring in the light to blend it out. And then I felt like this needed a little bit more colour. So what I did is I just brought in some Daffodil Delight. And like I say, I can't remember if I used the light or the dark. Let's try the light first. No, let's do the dark. And I just did a little bit, top and bottom. And then I blended that out again with the Lemon Lolly Light. So you don't have to stick to one pair of colours. You can mix colours in the same kind of colour family. That's the surfboards, and then the chair. So I stuck kind of to just a few colours. I wanted to keep the colour palette, where did my card go, really simple colours. So I just did mostly blues and reds and then a bit of yellow and some crumb cakes. So I kept it fairly simple. So let's do the chair, the deck chair, beach chair. So let's do Azure Light. And I like the brush tip when I can. Obviously, sometimes if you've got a little tiny area, you do need to use the pen. But I like the brush tip because I think you get a much smoother finish and it's much faster. And then I'm going to bring in my dark, colour in that little area of the seat that would be maybe a little bit darker. There we go. It doesn't even really need blending, maybe just a little bit. There we go. So really easy colouring. And then the umbrella and the ball are going to be just red and white. So I used Poppy Parade. I thought that would be a nice bright red. So again, I'll just do the umbrella. I better use the fine tip because when I was doing this the first time, I went outside the lines. So I'm just doing really quick because the focus isn't really about the colouring in this card. But obviously, take your time. And if you don't want to do blends colouring, you could do Stampin' Right markers, or you could do watercolouring, watercolour pencils. Oh, I need to do the ball too. Let's just do this. You know, whatever you kind of colouring you like to do. And we'll just add a little bit of dark along the edge here. And if you like to do the dark first and then blend with the light, you can definitely do that. And sometimes I do that, it just kind of depends how I feel. I think I'll just do this ball all over dark because I want it a bit more vibrant. I'll just go back in quickly, blend that out a little bit. Okay, now we just have the seagull. I don't think I even coloured the seagull. No, I didn't. I just left the seagull. And then for the sandcastle, I just used crumb cake. In here. And I just did crumb cake light, and I think my blends are getting a bit dry. Let's see if I need to replace my crumb cake. Oh, that ends a bit better. But yeah, they're definitely getting. And I did go down kind of into this sand area here because I wanted to get that coloured in. And then I just went in with the dark and just coloured in these little top pieces and the little windows. And then I just did a little bit of shading kind of down the edges. And I can just spin those back out. Yes, I definitely need some new crumb cake blends. Right, so some quick and easy colouring. So again, I need to bring back my die cut machine plates. And my dies. I might need a little bit of washi tape to help hold them in place. And obviously I'll have to run through twice so that I can do the other surfboard. So we've got this one, and the ball is right here. A little bird is right here. Oops. and umbrella, and sandcastle is right there. All right, so oops, that's upside down. So I'm just gonna line these up and put some washi tape on them properly and get them die cut. All right, so here's all my little pieces. I didn't do a great job on the surfboards. I've got a little bit extra white on one side, but I can just trim those down. So then what I did is I just brought back in my pieces here, and I can show you my card here. I kind of decided, first of all, actually, the first thing I did was I decided which sentiment I wanted to use and which die that was going to fit on. So I picked Sending Sunshine Your Way, which is that one. It's going to fit on that one. And then I kind of just laid out my pieces. I'd already laid out to work out how they would fit on my card base. And then I just decided where I wanted to put things. So I thought, well, the surfboards could go there, and then the umbrella down here. And I'll show you how to do that postmark in a little bit. But I have the umbrella and the chairs, and then the sandcastle and the ball and the bird down here. So this one is kind of small. There wasn't really anything that would fit on, but I just stamped those little shells onto there. So then once I'd figured that out, then I decided which color background I wanted to do. So I decided to do some sky and sand on this one, and just all sky on this, and kind of etc. So once I'd figured that out, I actually kind of made a little sketch on some scrap paper, and I wrote in what colors I wanted to sponge so that I would remember and not mess up. So let's do the sponging next. So I'll put these to one side. But I kind of wanted to show you my thought process and how I decided, what I was going to put where. So now let's bring back in my masks, and let's start with this one. So this is the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip these over, and I'm just going to lay these in like a puzzle. And I'll show you, stick around till the end of the video because I have some more samples to show you. And I've actually made three cards now using the same masks over. So you can definitely reuse these over and over until the sticky runs out, which I don't know how long that would be. But let's turn this over, and then we'll give them a good rub like that. Then I'll bring in my ink. So I've got some Balmy Blue and Crumb Cake ink. And I've just got a blending brush, one for blues and one for kind of neutrals. So this one here is going to be this square. So I want to do sky at the top and sand at the bottom. So I'm going to start with my sand, and I'm just going to kind of tap off down here a little bit, so I don't get a big blob. And I'm just going to do a little bit. I mean, actually, that's probably good. I can come back and do a bit more if I want. And then the rest is going to be sky with my Balmy Blue. And I'll leave kind of like a white area. I won't quite go down to the sand. I'll leave kind of like a white or a really light area between them. So actually that looks pretty good. I know it's a little bit light for you to see, but hopefully you can see that. All right, maybe just a little touch more. Yeah, there we go. And then I'm going to come over to the small square, and that's going to be just blue. That's where the sandcastle is going to go. So I thought the crumb cake sandcastle would be best just against the blue. So that whole thing is just going to be a light blue. So that's good for that one. And then this tiny one is going to be crumb cake. That's where I'm going to stamp those little shells. Okay, now one thing I'm going to do before I take these out is I'm going to grab a soft cloth, and I'm just going to go around and wipe all the way around the edge of the Scotch tape, because I'll show you another card where I used black memento ink and I had a bit of an oops because I didn't wipe off the black ink, and then when I went to do the next one I had lovely black smudges. So I've just cleaned that off so it's ready to go for the next card, and then we will just flip this over, take these out, and look at that, how nice that is. I was just so excited when I thought I'd been thinking about this for days. How could I do it? And then I thought, well, I'm going to give this a try. So there's that one. And like I say, the sides aren't perfect, but it's going to be fine. No one's going to notice. And then this one. All right, so let's do the other two quickly. So again, same process. Flip this upside down. So I hope you give this a try. It's a little bit of prep work, but then, like I say, these can be used over and over if you put them away somewhere carefully. And did you see how easily they peeled back out? Because although this Scotch tape is sticky, it's not like super sticky where it's going to tear your paper. So again, we'll just give these a bit of a rub. Make sure you don't have any ink on your fingers when you do this. And then let's see, this one's going to be for the surfboard, so that's going to be all blue. And this one is going to be for the sentiment, so that's going to be crumb cake. Okay, so let's peel these out. So again, we'll turn it over, and I'm just bending this just a little bit, and they just pop right out. It's really easy. So that's the one for the sentiment, and this is for the... Okay, so we're all done with those. Now let's stamp. I've got the little shells onto here, so let me grab that stamp. Oops. They're all falling off. I think I need to clean these because they're all falling off the blocks. So we will just stamp this. So this fits perfectly. All right, like that. And then on, let's see, on this one, where the umbrella and the chair is going to go, I'm going to do that grass stamp. I thought about doing it green, but I didn't want to introduce another colour, so I just did it crumb cake. And I'm going to just do it right near the bottom. And if you go off a little bit onto that white edge, that's fine. It wasn't necessarily intentional, but I think it's fine. And then we're going to do this sentiment. And I actually did it for my card using a stamper artist, but I'm just going to, for the sake of time, I'm just going to kind of wing it and see if I can get it straight. But I wanted a nice bold sentiment, so I did it in the stamper artist. That way I could do it more than once if necessary. You could also heat emboss it, that would be nice. But I'm just going to go for it and see if I can get a really good image. You can stamp first and then sponge later. Just make sure the black dries pretty fast, but I'm just a little bit nervous about doing it that way, so I just decided to do my sponging first. So I'm going to move this down here so I can get over it. And we're just going to go in. I'm going to hold it down with some pressure for a little bit because I want to get that nice. Hey, yay! Perfect. Okay, so now it's time to start assembling. So let's bring in my card base or my matte layer. So I decided to go with Azure Afternoon. I tried red, you could do poppy braid, I tried crumb cake, I tried just white, but I thought that this worked out well. So let's lay our pieces on here where they're going to go. So this piece is 3 3/4 by 5. And again, I will have all the measurements listed below and all the supplies. And then we can put this one, let's see, which way up do we want to do this? Like this. This is going to go here and this is going to go here. So there is one thing I still need to do on this piece, and that's that little postmark. So this is part of the Perennial Postage dies. There's a couple of other Let me bring it back. There's a couple of other little pieces other than, I didn't put these away yet, but there's two little circles so that you can do like a fastening. You know how you have the circles and you kind of wrap the thread around. And I'm not quite sure what that is for. It looks like a little tag topper or something. But anyway, and then there's this postage mark, which is just embosses. And what I did, I used basic grey on this one, but it was a little bit dark. So I'm going to try smoky slate this time. What I did, where is my smoky slate, was, in fact, let me get my die cut machine, my mini, and then I can show you exactly how to do it. Okay, so what I'm going to do, because this just embosses this piece, it doesn't cut out. So to make it show just a little bit more, and I don't even know if you can see on the card that it's embossed, but you can feel there is some dimension there. What I did was I very carefully, so I'm going to get ready. I put my piece that I'm going to emboss onto my plate, and then what I did was, and I need scissors, so do I have scissors? Okay, here's tweezers. So the thing is, you just want to be careful not to damage your ink pad. So now, do I have it the right way up? Okay, there's the butterfly. So let's just pick it up carefully with the tweezers. And then I'm just going to drop it on here. Yeah, tweezers are better. Where I want it. At this point, you don't want to move it because of that ink. And then we'll just put this on here. Run it through our... So you don't have to do this step if you're nervous about this. You don't want to mess up your beautifully sponged piece. Then skip this step, but I just thought it would be cute to have a... Oh, look, that came out so cool. It's lighter. I like it. It's perfect. I've got a little tiny smudge there, but I think that's okay. Oh, and I didn't stamp the bird, so I just still need to do that. Okay, so I think that came out nice. So let's put my cut machine away. All right, and let me just really quick stamp that little bird with Memento. Another little seagull. Just like this. And I actually coloured it in. I didn't like it just as an outline. I wanted it kind of like a silhouette. So I just grabbed my light basic black and coloured it in. You could just use a Sharpie, or if you don't have a black, or your Stampin' Right marker. But I wanted it kind of as a silhouette rather than just the outline. I like that better. But leave it as an outline if you like that. All right, so let's bring back this. So I think all my stamping is done that I need to do now. All right, so what I did next was I stuck everything down. I kind of lined up everything to see where exactly I wanted it to go. And then I just attached everything. So I did not use dimensionals on this because all the little pieces are going to be stuck on with dimensionals. So I started out with the big piece. And I'm just going to layer it. Let's see, I want to go fairly close to the right. I'm just looking at my other sample. Like that. And they don't fit together, you know, perfectly. They're different, slightly different widths. This square is a little bit narrower than the one below, but I think it's fine. Once everything's put together, I think it just is fine. No one's going to be saying, well, that's not quite right. And then we'll put this one on. So it took me a while to play around and figure out which dies would work and how I would lay them out. But I think this works out pretty well. And then we'll put this there. You could pop these up with dimensions if you want, but as I have used dimensionals for the other pieces, I thought this was fine. So just put these in, this last one. Oops. There we go. All right, and now we just need to, oh, what I did do is let me just trim off. Oh, actually, I think it's fine. I don't think anyone will notice. So what I did do was I stuck the two, let me put a little bit of adhesive on the back of one of these surfboards. I did stick these together kind of at an angle, and then I took some twine, some linen thread, and if you run your fingernail down it, it'll straighten it out a little bit. Do that a couple of times, and then I put a little bit more adhesive on the back to hold the linen thread, make it a little bit easier. And then I just leave a little extra there and hold it with my thumb, wrap it around a couple of times. And then I can tie a knot. And having that adhesive on the back kind of holds it in place. So I can tie a knot, tie another knot. There we go. And I got that a bit twisted, but on the other one I kind of spread that out a bit. That's fine. And then tie a bow. That. All right, so this is going to go on with dimensions. So I'm going to put dimensionals on the back of everything. Some little ones on the sandcastle and a little one on the seagull. Just fits. Okay, now I can attach all these to the card base. And I can trim, I can fiddle with that bow in a little bit, but I just want to get it on here and then I can fiddle. And the umbrella, and I didn't worry about any dimensionals under the stand to the umbrella, because that would be a bit tricky. We'll just put that about there on the chair. And in fact, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this chair leg kind of over bottom of the stand, and that'll hold it down a little bit like that. And then the sandcastles, so cute. I'd had this vision in my mind actually with another stamp set, which I'll show you in a minute. As I said, I have a couple of other samples, and I'd been thinking about it for a few days. And then when we booked our trip to go away for a few days to the coast, I thought about this one. And so I had these ideas floating around in my mind. And sometimes when I actually go to put it down on paper, you know, it doesn't turn out. But I was so happy with how these turned out. And I'm thinking when the new holiday catalogue comes out, if there's a cute Christmas set with some little images, then I might have to do another one. All right, and then let's put it onto the card base. I maybe should have done that first before and I got to fiddle with that bow a little bit. So so this is just a basic white thick card base that's 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. So I'll put this on here, and then let me just fiddle with this a little bit, make it a bit smaller. And I think what I'll do is I'll put a little tiny glue dot under that just to keep it in the right spot. Squish that up a little bit. Let's put it under here. There we go. And I can trim that down a little bit. Perfect. Okay, and then the last thing I did, it's looking good. The last thing I did was I die cut, let's see, what did I do with them? Oh, here we go. There's a little shell, a cute little shell die, and I cut these out of some white glimmer paper. Now this paper, I think, and I didn't actually use dimensionals for these. The paper I think is an online exclusive, and like I say, I will list it underneath. It's part of a set that I think has Old Olive and Berry Burst glimmer paper also. So I just added these in a few places. Oops, let's do that one too. You could use glue dots here too, that might be easier. I'll just put one here, but I thought this was like, I don't really need embellishments per se, but I thought these would just finish off with a little bit of sparkle. All right, so isn't that just so cute? Here's my original one. So I kind of like the light postage mark. I think, yeah, I think I prefer that. It's more subtle. That's kind of a bit in your face. So let me show you the other cards I made. So this was the first one I made. So this is using the Attention Shoppers bundle. And my thought process was exactly the same. I kind of die cut some of the small images, stamped and colored and die cut them and laid them out. And I used the same layout because that worked with the sentiment. And then what I did on here, I don't know if you can see if I tilt it, but I added some of our fine tip glue to the frosting and to the wine bottles and to these little hearts and the leaves, just to give it a little bit of pop, and then a little linen bow there. These hearts are from another die set. Oh gosh, I can't remember what it's called. It's a new one in the new annual catalogue. It's something about friends, but I'll list that below. But if you have some little hearts, you have a heart punch or some little heart dies, because I couldn't think what else to put in there. There wasn't really another stamp that worked. So there's that one. And then this one I did, which I love how this one turned out. This is using the Simply Zinnia stamp set. And this one I did a little bit different. There's no die cuts on here except for the little hearts. What I did with this one is while the dies were still in their masks, I stamped these images, and then I did the sponging afterwards, actually. So I made sure the ink was dry, and then I did the sponging, and I did some splatters, and I'm really happy with how that came out with. And then the little hearts, I used Wink of Stella on them. So this was a little bit different, and it was a little bit, this is where I smudged the Memento ink the first time I did it. So if you like a video showing how to make this one, then let me know in the comments, and I'll make one, because this was a little bit different. But I think that one turned out really lovely too. So let me know which is your favorite. Do you like the beachy one? Do you like the flowers? Do you like this one, the shopping one? Let me know. I would love to know, love to hear. I'm like torn. I just love them all. And I'm just really happy with how they came out. So again, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel. And if you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I would love to be your demonstrator. My website is at the top of the page there, and all these items are available in my online store, and I'll list them all below. So again, thank you so much for joining me. Until next time, have a great rest of your day, and bye for now.